Mayfield 5 for $200 million.
Oh my
there you
goodness.
go.
Oh my
guys,
goodness.
the NBA has adopted a new load management policy coming into this season. The policy is they're going to start load managing. And I get it. The NBA Finals ended like 8 minutes ago. These guys are exhausted. So what does load management 2.0 look like? Well, let's take you back to last night. LeBron, AD, halftime of the preseason game. Once again, preseason, halftime, 26 pounds of ice, 26 pounds of tape, feet in Gatorade buckets. Nobody's drinking Gatorade for the whole second half of the game. This is halftime of the preseason. Welcome to load management.
Quarter and see how it's feeling at this moment.
So it's pretty good. I got treatment on it already. I used to during the game. So I think it's nothing to worry about, see how it's, feeling tomorrow in the morning. But I think it's pretty all right.
Got it. Frank said he was eager to see how it looked with you playing alongside LeBron and AD. Just wondered what your first impressions were, Dennis, of how that went.
I mean, it's a preseason game still. We try to find our way. We played in practice a little bit, not too much, but we just try to figure stuff out. How we playing on the offensive end and the defensive end. But like I said, it's try to get a feel for each other. On the offensive end, what they like to do when I'm, going to the basket. If they want to cut or not. It's just feel and pick and roll me and AD. But like I said, we're gonna get better at it.
This team really emphasized defense last year. I know that's pretty common for most NBA teams, but it clearly worked as they got their way to the title. Any just first impressions of how that works for you, what your focus is on the defensive side of the floor when you play with that starting group?
Well, just being active. I think try to bring the ball, when I'm off the three-point line and bring them inside. That's what we really focusing on. Of course, we got, LeBron and AD down there. Who, creating really tough shots. Basically, just try to be aggressive. Don't try to give them open looks. And, everything I've been doing, basically, try to, pick up full court sometimes.
Do you still want the Rockets to trade you? And if so, why?
Right now, I'm just focused on being here. Today was good. Yesterday felt really good being out there. The first time since the bubble. Haven't really had an opportunity to do a lot of 5-on-5 work, but for my first time being out there, I think I felt pretty good. So,
James, what was the point that you were trying to get across when you went to Atlanta and Vegas when training camp was starting?
I was just training.
What were you training for?
The start of the NBA season.
How did going to Atlanta and Vegas help you there when the Rockets were starting training camp in Houston?
Just my personal trainers.
Yeah.
For all you young reporters out there, that's how you do it. You follow up and you follow up and you follow up till you still don't get what you want. Nick, I'll start with you. How telling was James Harden's first media session since his trade request?
All right, before I answer the question, and I wish I had an old school press hat to put on, I'm going to do a little journalism here. I used to live in Houston. I covered this team. I still have some folks down there. I can independently confirm that James Harden was with his trainers, and I can tell you who they are. There's one named Cinnamon. There was one named Destiny he was with. And I think Jade was also prominently involved.
Wow.
But I don't know which city was which. So he wasn't lying. He was with his trainers, and he was getting ready for the NBA season. You can go ahead and put that on the bottom line. It's not a Woj bomb. It's a Wright bomb. Go ahead and report that out. Hey, man, Brandon, what'd the Rockets say? We're ready to get uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Okay. It's going to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And part of demanding a trade, if you don't then immediately get traded, is not showing up and acting like everything's fine, because that de-incentivizes the team to trade you. James doesn't want to be there, and he's going to act as such. Now, I do believe now that he is there, Brandon, he is going to, when the season starts, produce at the level of one of the greatest scorers we've ever had in this league. I don't think he's going to tank games. I don't think he's going to mail in effort. No. But I think the interactions with the media, coaches, front office are going to be, as the Rockets put it, Brandon, uncomfortable.
That's right. No, you're 100% right. Hey, Jenna, I remember being in that same seat. That is the worst place you can be as a player.
You know
those hard questions are coming. Yeah, I mean, whatever you say, you're going to be wrong. If you talk about CP3, Westbrook, and why these guys don't want to play with you, did you ask for them to be traded, or why would they want to be traded? Like, you're just going to lose there. So you just got to go up there and give the most generic answer. Look, this is how it's going to be until he's traded. It's going to be uncomfortable for everyone, even James Harden. Players don't want to be in that position. That's why he didn't talk to the media yesterday. So, look, James Harden is one of those guys, like Nick said, is going to go out there and ball, but this is one of the reasons why you need to figure out how to move this guy ASAP. I mean, I don't want my teammates answering these questions every single day, and, you know, the coaching staff and ownership. This is going to be a problem, Wilds, until he's traded.
But, Brandon, you've seen a lot of press conferences. You've done a lot of press conferences. This press conference on the uncomfortability scale did not crack the top 100. If this is as worse as it's going to get, that he sits there and just deflects it and says, yeah, I'm focused on the season, then so be it. This is not that uncomfortable. We've seen things go really sideways in press conferences. This was overall fine. It's a mountain out of a molehill right now.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. I never understood why we had to talk to the media once a week, and if we didn't, we'll get fined. And one day, I think it was John Lynch, safety, now the general manager for the 49ers, came up to me and said, Brandon, the reason why you got to talk is because they're the ones that pay our bill. The business around our sport is because it's media driven. So a lot of times players don't understand why we have to do it, but it's part of being a professional athlete. It's part of being a pro. And James Harden, he's going to have to sit up there every single day, and he's going to have to answer the tough questions, and he's going to make it uncomfortable for everyone, Nick.
And now that you're on this side of it, Brandon, doesn't it feel good to have some to lead a show with? Because James Harden spoke.
There you go.
Guys. So yesterday, a report came out adding another layer to Harden's ongoing situation. The report said the Rockets' culture could be pretty much summed up as, quote, whatever James Harden wants, including taking trips on off days, excused absences from practice. Nick, do you think the Rockets gave Harden too much power?
No, I don't, and I'm going to say something that I don't think anyone on TV is going to say today, but I believe it to my core. If James Harden is traded today, the James Harden Rockets era was a massive success. Since he got there, they are the only team in the league to make the playoffs every year. They were the only team to put any type of fear whatsoever into a healthy Golden State team once they got Durant. And I understand what people are screaming at their television screens, but they didn't win a title. Here's the ugly truth about the NBA, my favorite sport. Let's go back 40 years. 40 years, 1980 to now. How many champions didn't have one of the 20 greatest players in the history of the sport on their roster? 2. The 2019 Raptors, who won because the other team was decimated by injury, and Wild's beloved 04 Pistons. That's the list. You know how you win titles in this league? You have a player that is a top of the pyramid all-time great. So if James Harden failed, it's because he wasn't quite good enough. While he was great, he wasn't better than Steph, he wasn't better than Durant, he wasn't better than LeBron. And guess what? Steph, Durant, LeBron get all the titles. That's how the NBA works. And so they gave him a lot of power. It worked as well as it realistically could have, Brandon.
Nick, look,
great take.
They didn't give him too much power, but James Harden is tripping. He's straight tripping. Look, he took it way too far. He definitely did. Now we're starting to see why they couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs. Now we're starting to see why they imploded in the playoffs. How do you go through the regular season ball, be so dynamic and electrifying, and then get into the postseason and you go 3 for 20? Like, come on. Now we're seeing it because it's in the details, because it's the little things. These are the things that LeBron James is willing to do. LeBron James is willing to be a great leader on the court, off the court. LeBron James treats the janitor the same way he treats AD. He's not willing to do that. James Harden is tripping. James Harden needs to look himself in the mirror and figure out who he wants to be as a person, because the reports that's coming out, they're not pretty. And if I was in a locker room with James Harden, it would have been some problems. This is where I struggle in the National Football League in the locker room. Guys, if you don't want to be on time, if you don't want to do things the right way, if you don't want to be a pro every single day, then you're going to be held accountable. This is the reason why, Wilds, this team hasn't achieved the ultimate, and that's winning a championship, because of James Harden's behavior off the court and how he treats people.
Okay, so I think I'm in the middle between you guys. I'm nowhere near what Nick is saying, where, quote, part of the success of the Rockets is, quote, they put fear in Golden State, which is a great quality if you're managing a haunted house or you run one of those Halloween stores and you're selling costumes. But for an NBA team, that is actually not a qualifier. But Brandon, I am not that mad at him for sort of like living a normal life of a rich person. And my buddy Ben Dietrich, who was on the Cookies Hoops podcast, had two good tweets that I wanted to show you now that I think perfectly encapsulate what I'm talking about. The first